Season 54, War number 9, the final war of the season, and we're up against GT40. This time my team will be Silk, the Serpent, and Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I will be taking Pat 7 in Section 1, Pat 5 in Section 2, an Enchantress, Punisher 2099, as well as a Bullseye mini-boss, and finally, that shocker boss there, using the Serpent. So this war, not gonna be a full one. I could not get a team to work for all the mini-bosses, but that's fine. I still got plenty, as well as some interesting fights that I don't usually take. Now here, starting off, we have a Chee'ilth on the second wind damage reflection, and I will be taking the fight with Negasonic. Now, Negasonic is a great option, generally speaking, for these nodes, since the second wind damage reflection node triggers when the defender purifies or cleanses any debuffs, and Negasonic only inflicts passives, so all of her incinerate vulnerability, the parry stun, everything is passive, so the defender cannot purify it, and thus they will not trigger the damage reflection. On top of that, Negasonic also reduces the bleed ability accuracy on Chee'ilth champions by, I believe, 100%, so even if I happen to block a medium attack from this Chee'ilth, she shouldn't be able to inflict a bleed debuff on me through my block, which is a nice safety net. That is one of the more annoying abilities that Chee'ilth has, and basically the only real risk in the fight. Now here, I also didn't use any specials because the node does inflict debuffs on the attacker's special activation, and those will still be debuffs even with Negasonic, so Chee'ilth would then cleanse them, trigger the damage reflection, and I would be melting myself. So to avoid that, basic attacks only it is. Fight goes down, fairly simple, and then we have a Dragon Man on the second wind damage reflection and winded nodes, and this one, well, Dragon Man doesn't purify any debuffs. However, due to the winded node, if you knock down the defender here, they will be inflicted with an armor break debuff. If Dragon Man is armor broken, he will start dealing degeneration to the attacker, which I can't remember exactly how potent it is and whether or not it will be subject to the decay tactic, but I didn't want to take any chances here, so the plan for this fight is to not knock down the defender at all. Now the node also has 40% physical resistance, as you can see the buff under Dragon Man's health bar, and that means that my damage output is heavily reduced here, but whenever Silk does land a critical hit, she bypasses a majority of the resistances. So even with that and the inability to use knockdowns for the Furies, she still does the fight fast enough, where it's not too annoying to deal with. All that's left is Dragon Man's own kit, namely just the power gain or the power charge that he gets. To remove that, you can either land a simple parry, bait a special 2, or block a hit of his special 1. Due to Silk's auto-evade, blocking a hit of the special 1 is actually not that easy to do, so generally the way to deal with that is to just land a simple parry or bait the special 2 to convert it into a fury buff. The special 2 full dex is honestly easy enough to do with a bit of practice, so that's what I usually do against him anyways, and well, if I do mess it up, there is always Silk's auto-evade. Fight goes down, did take some damage because I missed an intercept and got intercepted myself. Very unfortunate, and honestly, just a skill issue on my part, but yeah, I am gonna have to use a potion because of that. And next up, we have a Kindred on Demon Flow, Intercept and Sadist nodes, and I'm gonna be taking the fight with Silk, but this one's a little bit scary. Due to the Sadist node and the sheer amount of debuffs that Silk inflicts, this fight can get very scary. A single mistake and you can get full comboed and clapped straight up without you being able to do anything about it. So, generally speaking, it is best to play this fight safe if you're using a debuff heavy champion, but I'm comfortable enough with using Silk and fighting Kindred that I'm just gonna nuke it and be done with the fight as quickly as possible. The faster you get out of a fight, the less chances you have for mistakes, so generally speaking, going quickly is the safer way to go. Unless you're taking some very unnecessary and stupid risks, which in that case, taking it slow would be better. Then we have a Spider Punk on the Event Flow Intercept and Mighty Charge nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Silk as well. Essentially the only thing that Spider Punk does here is, well, if you try to intercept him, he will trigger his evade, land a counter hit, stunning you passively, and then he's gonna combo you afterwards. To avoid that, simply don't intercept. The Mighty Charge node here makes sure that any slow debuffs you have on him will get removed by it every time he dashes forward, so you can't bypass the evade here with this slow either. So just, as I said, just don't try to intercept him, and you'll be fine. The fight will take slightly longer due to the event for protection being up throughout the whole fight, but honestly, Spider-Man champions are never the tankiest, so even with the protection, this guy is falling quickly enough. It's not a fast fight by any means, but it is very safe and very easy to do. Baiting special once over and over, it has a fairly long animation, but it is extremely easy to avoid, so that's what I usually go for, though here I did push into a special too, knowing I have the auto evade in case I mess it up myself. Special 2 itself also fairly easy to dex, but projectiles are deceptively fast, so I do like to stick with the special ones. Just over a minute and a half, fight goes down with one more special one, and I took barely any damage there. Silk works great for it, but so does basically anyone else. You really don't need a counter for him. But if you are looking for a proper counter, I would suggest using Venom, because Spider-Verse champions or heroes cannot evade against him as long as he has the Clintar buff, so you can intercept him there just fine. He will not auto-evade and counter-hit you. Then we have an Enchantress on the event flow, knockdown and right back at it, mini-boss node along with the aggression prowess node, and I am taking this fight with Silk. Game plan is the usual, just avoid playing Enchantress at all, don't let her do anything, just play the special 3s with the invulnerability boost, and that will be it. Now, as you can see here, the bug on the right back at it node has been fixed already. So this bug fix was a lot quicker than most, honestly. I was very surprised to see it, but at the same time it doesn't really make a difference here. It's just gonna make the fight a little bit longer than the previous ones were at the very least. Now this Enchantress here is, or has gotten to use that special one, which is unfortunate, and here I made a very stupid mistake. I tried to heavy charge off a combo while the right back at it node, the debuff immunity was still active, so she was debuff immune, did not get stunned, punished me, and consumed every single one of my invulnerability charges. That means that I can no longer use the special 3 baiting strat, so I gotta fight her the intended way, and that is dealing with the special 1s, the spells, as well as the special 2s. At this point in the fight though, I had already baited 2 special 1s, so her special 2 was enabled, so I was able to push her there instead of baiting another special 1, auto-evade it fully, punish it for a combo, and then a special 2 to finish it out. And not a clean fight by any means, but it worked out, and yeah, considering how big of a mistake I made there, it could have been a whole lot worse. So simply getting off with a simple potion afterwards, I'll take it. Then we have the good old Punisher 2099 on the Bubble Shield, Scared Thief and Power Focus 2 mini-boss node, and I'm taking this fight with Silk. As you can probably guess by now, I'm taking most fights with her, most wars this season, if not all of the wars. And generally speaking, the game plan here with Silk is to just push him to his special 2s, and then try not to let him use them. Hold block to bait heavy attacks for openings, don't let him use the special 2, get to your own special 2, try to nuke the fight with that. If the opponent is not dead, they will be soon enough. If needed, bait the special 2 then, and repeat, I guess. The special 2 cannot be auto-evaded, so you do need to watch for the bubble shield node. If he goes unblockable in the middle of that while you're blocking it, it's gonna leave a mark, so do keep an eye on it. Other than that, he is simple enough to deal with. The root is another thing you gotta keep an eye on, but generally speaking, the root, it doesn't really do anything. It just wastes a few seconds of your time, and that's about it. Then we have the good old Bullseye on the Conflictor and Combat Deja-Vu Prowess miniboss node, and I will be taking this fight with Negasonic Teenage Warhead. A very simple fight for her, and yeah, the game plan is the usual. Essentially, what you want to do in this fight is to only push Bullseye to his special 2s, bait them, and then full dex them. Do not leave him at a single bar of power, because if you do so, you will have to basically eat the special, and the special one, the dex is doable, especially now with 60 FPS, but it is not nearly as easy as the special 2, and I would consider it way too risky to do in war, that I would rather not do it with a champion as frail as Negasonic is. And here again, I screw it up. The fight itself on paper is very simple, but I mismanaged the power bar on the opponent again, allowing them to use the special one if they wanted to. This time he didn't, so he saved me from a ton of chip damage. Was able to push him to that special 2, and at this point the fight is over. Just gotta wait for the incinerators to do their job, but to speed things up I will combo into a special 1 to close it out. Fight took just over a minute, did take some damage, but that will more often than not be the final fight you gotta take with Negasonic, so you don't even have to heal up with potions afterwards. Taking the chip damage there is fine, really. And then we have the final fight of the war, a shocker boss that I'm gonna be taking with the Serpent. Now there were a few options for this boss fight, but I decided I wanted to use my Serpent for it, my newly rank 3 one at that. The game plan here is to bait his heavy attacks, punish them with my heavy to keep the slow debuff up constantly, so that the unstoppable from Sugar Pill will not be a problem. Then spam my special 2s whenever possible, keep the slow up all the time, bait special 2s only, and that's about it. The reason why I want to bait the special 2s is because they don't ramp him up. Baiting special 1s, well, punishing them for 1 is not nearly as easy to do as it is for the special 2, and the special 1s ramp him up, triggering his auto block, which, to be fair, is not an issue with the Serpent, but also the unblockable mediums, as well as increases his stun chance on mediums. All of that combined, it just makes for a rough time, so to avoid most of that, just bait the special 2s. You're gonna take a bunch of chip damage from blocking it, but Serpent is tanky, so that's not really a problem. Getting comboed like I did earlier though is a bit of a problem. I can't afford to do that, otherwise I'm gonna be triggering that cheat death mechanic sooner rather than later, and if that happens, well, it's gonna be a rough time to finish out the fight. Now, so far, I am winning the race, just barely, or at least I was, but again, a full combo into my block, and yeah, Shocker does hit surprisingly hard through your block. I'm not exactly sure why he does that, but he does, so baiting these constant heavy attacks is starting to be a bit of a problem, but I know that I have the safety net of the death immunity, so blocking these hits is not an issue. The biggest thing here is to just not get full comboed and stun locked to death, or, well, I guess baiting those special 1s on accident. Those are the two things here that I don't want happening, so I'm playing it as safe as possible with the heavy baits and the special intercepts. Special 1 spam here is fine as well, but the special 2, I get the knockdowns slightly faster I believe, and I also have the cosmic power back boosts, so it allows me to spam more specials in quicker succession, and it also triggers the power gain buff from the special 2 itself, enabling even more special spam. Fight goes down, not as clean as I imagined it would be, but it worked out, and Serpent, he is a powerful attacker on top of being one of the strongest defenders currently out there. Now as for the results, we did end up losing the war 1-3, and with that we landed a spot in the top 20 of Masters, so no top 10 rewards. Here's what we got, and just to throw it in here, since people seem to like crystal openings, I am opening the war rewards, those being a single 7-star basic crystal as well as a single 7-star titan crystal. Now the basic here, it's honestly not a bad pull at all, but I do already have him awakened at rank 3, so all it does is increase his prestige a little bit. The dupe ability itself isn't all that important. Now one thing to mention here as well, the seasonal stats. This time around with the 9 war season I ended up with 83 attacker kills and 0 deaths, so I did get a death this season and quite a big chunk of the fights that we had, which was very nice. Anyways, to open up the Titan here, well, the top pulls at the time, of course, Scream, Enchantress Awakening, and I guess Jack-o'-lantern as well, but I ended up awakening my Hitmonkey, which, to be fair, is an okay pull, but I don't really do anything with it. And yeah, with that, there's the end of the season, hoping to get the next one started and uploaded on time. I always try to, but this time around especially, I had a very busy month with the Vancouver trip as well as all the holidays, so these war videos got very late, so I do apologize for that one, but thank you for watching if you're still here.